it, demon!
In this video, I'm bringing you another amazing product review. This time I'm reviewing the HPE extender. This is the successor to the Hog extender. So I'm going to go ahead and review it. I tried it for quite a while. So I'm going to go ahead and show it what I think about it, give you a product overview. I'm going to go ahead and compare it to other extenders, including the old Hog extender, the best extender, and the Epic extender. So I'll kind of give you a comparison of all those extenders and ultimately tell you whether you should buy it or not. Spoiler alert, why I still think that this is the best budget extender that's out there.
Good product, top of the line.
And why it's an improvement, although marginal, to the Hog extender too. So it's going to be a pretty straightforward video, but before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button.
I like it a lot.
If you need any coaching, hit up my Patreon, link is down below. And if you want to get the best pump in the market right now, the Smart Truck pump, go ahead and get that coupon code down below. It really helps out the channel. Helps me out a lot. Yeah, go ahead and get that discount code. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first let's do a bit of a product overview. So this is the HPE extender. You can find it at honestpe.shop. I'll go ahead and put a link in the description. This is basically a successor of the Hog extender, which I've reviewed before. So I'll put that video in the description below. So this is the old one. This is the Hog Vibe, which I also have and I also review. So I'll put that in the description as well. These two are solid. This is a little bit pricier because you can put a vibration mount on it. So I have that. It's pretty cool. So this is the HPE extender. So it's the same price as the old version, $94. You can also go here to get some vacuum cups and the FN Men sleeves. I like the FN Men sleeves, but I'm not a fan of these Chinese cups. I prefer like the Total Man cups or the Epic cups. I think they're better. I haven't tried these sleeves, so I don't know what the quality is, but this time I'm just focusing on the extender itself, because I use the different types of cups, which are better cups. I use either the Total Man or the Epic cups. So anyways, but yeah, so this is the Epic extender. This is the HPE extender, and it's $94. You can actually get it in all these colors. I got mine in orange. It's a little retro. I really like it. Yeah, so basically it kind of gives you a breakdown about it can basically go up to 20 pounds. It has a built-in scale, which if your extender doesn't have a built-in scale, it's garbage. Just toss it in the trash. It's no good. It features a smooth movement and a sturdy construction, and it's been refined over multiple years. You can also get like the cups, but again, I'm not focusing on the cups. I've reviewed the FN Men sleeves before. I have never tried out those Chinese cups. If you want me to try out those Chinese cups and do a review on them, leave a comment down below. Let me know. But yeah, I've used the Total Man cups and the Epic cups, both of which are really good. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the product overview. That's how much it costs. So full disclosure, by the way, this was sent to me for free by the makers of the extender. So just kind of full caveat, I did get it for free, so I didn't have to pay for it or pay shipping and handling. I'm not sure how much it would be with the shipping and handling, but yeah, just kind of FYI. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do a deeper dive into the product. All right, so here we go. So this is the HP extender. So I've been using it for quite a while. I actually took it with me to Turkey, so I used it a few hours over there. I've been also using it. Just I wanted to make sure I use it for a good while before I give it a review. So anyways, just kind of overview of the product. So it has this base cushion. This comes standard. I don't believe that it's extra, but yeah, this is critical. You definitely want to have this cushion, because otherwise it's just this sort of plastic piece. I'm so spoiled nowadays that I wouldn't be able to just use it with this plastic piece, which is things like the white, extenders like the Restorix are essentially outdated in terms of comfort. But yeah, so this is what it comes with. By default, its length is about 13 and a half inches. Right, yeah, 13.5 inches in length. It's a beast. It's a monster. So this is not something that you would be able to like hide under your pants. Just FYI, if you've never gotten an extender before, yeah, it's not something that you would be able to hide under your pants. This is something that you would use while you're stationary, at home or in the comfort of somewhere that you can safely use it. Stationary. So it has this. You can basically sort of set the angle if you want to extend going down or facing out. These are the two primary ways. It does have a flat, so it is kind of flat. There is like a bit of a, see if you can see it here, it has a little bit of a groove here at the bottom. So here you see here it kind of like slopes down, kind of like the side of a mountain here. So this is for comfort. If you want to extend going down, this provides a little bit more comfort. That's kind of what that's for. It's kind of like a better design of the base. And then here you have the knobs. So the knobs have like this groove here. Let's see if you can, hopefully you can sort of see it. Yeah, hopefully you can see it there a little bit better. But yeah, so here you can, has like this little groove, kind of like sticks going down through the sides, kind of gives you this texture that you can touch. This basically, you turn both knobs at the same time to go up, righty, and then left to go down. All right, this is basically allows you to adjust it, and when you have it on, you turn it to basically apply tension. Yeah, it does have the separating, so if you pull it out, it has these springs inside. That's what provides the tension. This is not encapsulated, so it's kind of different pieces that come apart. Okay, then it has the hook here. So the hook essentially is supposed to, like, you're supposed to put it where the shoe going up. This is with the shoe going up. You can put it upside down as well, but this is the way that it's assigned to be. You basically can feed your D from the top or through the bottom. Yeah, so it has this hook here, and this is where you attach the vacuum cup. Okay, and it has this what's called the bundle knob. This is called the bundle knob, so you can basically disengage it by like pulling it up, and then you can turn it and then put it back down, and then it locks. It has this little teeth here. You see this little teeth here that basically allow to lock into place, because there's little grooves at the bottom. You see here those little grooves, and that's what allows it to lock into place. Okay, and then it has this little stabilizing bar at the top that holds it all together. And it has these rods, and that's pretty much it. If you want to make the rods longer or shorter, you have to get the rods somewhere else. I do not see them in the HPE website as of today. Maybe in the future they'll be available. But yeah, sometimes guys that are shorter maybe want to have a little bit more compact, and guys that are longer or have like adapters that need a little bit more space. But this has plenty of space. I am 8 inches bone press, and I've used this with my LG hanger chamber. I've used it with my comfort grip, and with regular Total Man and Epic cups, and they all work perfectly fine. There's plenty of space, and there's also space here from side to side. So side to side here, it is, you can see here, it's about 2.75 inches side to side, so it allows you to use the different adapters. So here, for example, is the comfort grip, one of the more popular adapters, right? So you basically kind of turn it, and yeah, it fits perfectly fine here on the sides. It gives you plenty of space, so that's great. So that's pretty much a bit of a product overview. What are my thoughts on just the extender itself? So it's pretty solid. It doesn't give if you like turn it like this, right? It's very, very sturdy, very solid, so everything's tight. One of the problems I used to have with the old Hog is that the nuts would become loose over time. That doesn't seem to be the problem with newer versions of the Hog, and with this, I think he uses a Loctite now to make sure that these don't turn, but it's still smooth. Like, you can still easily, like, notice I'm not using a whole lot of force, like, but it still stays in place to move it, right? So it's still easy to turn, so it's not too hard to turn, but it still stays in place, and the knobs don't become, the screws don't become loose over time. So I think he did fix those issues, and I believe those were also fixed in newer versions of the Hog extender. I have like one of the earlier versions, so I did come across that problem. So it's very, very sturdy. Yeah, like I mentioned here, this part here separates, which is a big downside, honestly. Parrot, when I usually give my recommendations to people, I tell them, hey, either the Hog extender, super solid, great device, or the best extender. So this is the best extender, or the Epic Classic. I don't like the branding of that, but this is like the Hog extender or the Epic Classic. This is the other extender that I also recommend. The reason why I recommend it, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's because this housing or whatever this is called doesn't come apart, right? This doesn't separate, so it stays together. So it's a little bit more ergonomic. It's cleaner. It's just, seems a little bit more professional. But keep in mind, this is significantly cheaper than the best extender here. So that's the difference. This part becomes a part. Also, the bundle knob here, so the one for the best, it's a little bit cleaner. So it has like a spring that you pull it up and it goes back into its position, and you turn it and it goes back. It's a lot cleaner, whereas this one, it's a lot more manual, right? You pull it, and actually, like, worst comes, you can actually kind of almost like kind of like take it off, right? Like something like that. Like, I don't know if you can see here, but right, it's just kind of like goes all the way to where the hook is. You can start seeing the hook here from the bottom here, or from the top here, right? So you can sort of see that. You see that? Yeah, so it's just, it's a little bit flimsier. It's a lot flimsier, honestly. Whereas this, this basically kind of stays into place. It's all housed together. It's a very, very solid construction here. Just kind of keep in mind, but still, it's functional. It's functional and it's sturdy. Okay, that's, and ultimately that's what really matters. And, do you want to pay a little bit more for for a better build quality, or a little bit less? Same features, but just the quality is slightly worse, but it's still solid. It's still solid. So that's how I would compare the two. Yeah, then as far as sturdiness, they're both super, super sturdy. As for the comfort, I get asked this all the time, which one is more comfortable? I slightly prefer the best extender or the Epic. They're the same thing, but it has like this cushion here at the bottom, and it's kind of like this. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of like plasticky. I don't know what exactly this is called. Like a very soft rubber. I would say like a rubbery feel. Whereas this, it's less sturdy. You see here, it's less sturdy, and it's not as rubbery. It's just kind of like this a little flimsier, you know, padding that's here. So this is a little bit more, it's hard to describe, but it's just so much easier to compress. Okay, whereas this, it's still comfy, but it's a little sturdier, slightly like tougher rubber. So I still prefer the comfort. For me, the comfort is still gonna go to the best extender. But again, this, remember, and this is 3D printed, and that's why it's a little bit cheaper. Now, that's another thing I want to touch on. How does it compare to the original hog extender? So one thing you got to remember is that you can find the instructions for 3D printing, and you can print essentially your own hog. So this is the hog 2, and this is the, you know, the HPE. So you can basically build it out, and they're functionally the same. What is different? You can sort of see here, like this little metal pieces here are a little bit longer. I believe that provides a little bit more stability. The knots are like just very, very slightly smoother on the HPE, but it's honestly very, very difficult to tell. Okay, and yeah, you still have the bundle knob here. So honestly, I think like the bundle knobs are very, very similar. Yeah, they both kind of come out, and obviously everything still kind of comes apart. This is still very sturdy. You know, I think the HPE is slightly more sturdy. So ultimately what it is like, this one's the HPE. Yeah, the HPE, it's just a little bit slicker. It's all it is, really. Also the numbers here are bigger, so you can sort of see here. It's a lot clearer to see this bigger numbers here, and even the lines, and they're a lot easier to see. Here, you see that? So they're a little bit bigger. So if you're a little bit older, or, you know, just want better visibility, I do prefer the bigger numbers. I am older. I do prefer that. That's better. The groove is a little bit slicker here, whereas here it has a groove just at the bottom, whereas here it has the groove across the whole, you know, sort of this whole piece over here. The basically, yeah, so all of this, it comes to just sleekness. Here, for example, this little piece kind of curves. You see here, there's like a curve here. Okay, hopefully if the camera cooperates. Yeah, so it curves here. Same for this top piece, it curves. Okay, whereas the old, you know, hog extender doesn't have those. It's not as sleek. It's just kind of like square, very flat, both for this piece here that holds the hook, and this top bar also just square. One thing that is missing from the HPE is these two little holes that you can use to put in a strap. I feel like that's a big sort of negative for the HPE. It's not like a huge deal. It's only if you want to basically extend and do things. If you see my live streams, you see that I extend standing up. So this is my trusty Best Extender Pro. This is the one that I use for my live streams. It has the longer rods. This gives me a little bit more room for the different attachments, for like the different positions. So I did change out the rods. But yeah, it has these little hooks because I use the strap to be able to extend standing up. I feel like that's relatively important, but it's up to you whether you want to, you know, if you want to be able to extend standing up or not. You could probably figure it out, like, you know, just use a string or use like a piece of something that you can just tie here. It's not like a huge deal, right? And that's and I think that's going to be the minority of people that are actually extending standing up. So just kind of FYI, there is no holes. Yeah, on the top it says HPE. I don't know if you can see it here. So it has HPE. Yeah, so ultimately it's just, you know, the main things that stand up is a little bit sturdier, very slightly sturdier. Has the groove here across, like throughout this whole piece here. The numbers are bigger. It's a little bit slicker looking, but it's missing the holes for the strap. So just FYI. So this is the HPE extender. Is basically just an evolution of it. Still a solid extender. However, if I were like to sort of compare, if you already have the hog and you're wondering if you should upgrade to like the HPE, no, you should not. There's just not enough features for me to tell you like, okay, yeah, you absolutely need to upgrade. Yeah, so the only reason I think like the only reason you would upgrade is you would upgrade to something like the Best Extender Pro if you want to really take it to that next level. Even with something like the Best Extender, or the Epic Classic. Really, it's just the build quality, slightly more comfort. Otherwise, they're essentially the same, right? Yeah, I feel like if you have this, it's a super solid. If you have the original Hog, you don't need to do it. You don't need to change anything. Like, you know, it's good. It's solid. It's a budget version of an extender, right? It's what it is. Yeah. So just kind of FYI, that's basically it. So this is how it compares. How it compares with the best extender or the Epic Classic. Okay. Now, briefly, I do want to compare it with the Epic extender. So a lot of it comes down to versatility. So the Epic extender essentially doesn't have a hook, or rather the place where this hook is here in the back, which I am not a fan of. So if you're using something like the Epic, you have the Epic cups, you know, it goes straight here in this type of adapter. But the Hog and the HPE use a hook type of connection here. So you have to, you have more options. So you can use anything that has a loop. That means that you can use it easily with a cup that has this loop. You can also use it with something like the Comfort Grip. Okay, without that little adapter. You could use the Comfort Grip with the Epic, but you need that extra little adapter here as well, which I actually ended up losing. Yeah, so that's kind of how it compares. Now look at how the Epic is just a little bit more compact. Okay, but it's still like, yeah. The problem also here is that it barely fits. Like the Comfort Grip barely fits. Like there's friction. You see here? You see that? Yeah, it doesn't really fit. That's why nowadays, I compare, for a more, premier or boutique extender that's more versatile, I recommend like the best extender here. This works perfectly, but you can basically get a budget version of the best extender that's cheaper. Just the build quality is going to be a little bit worse because of the housing with the HPE or the Hog. So that's basically how it compares, why having a hook attachment is a little bit more versatile, and how it compares with the Epic, with the Epic as well. And this is the branding was confusing on that end. So all in all, solid product. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know whether I missed anything, but I think that's pretty much it. As far as usage, I didn't use it with the strap. I just used it sort of with, basically just sort of sitting down or with my back pillow. Super solid, super easy to use, super comfortable. If I was on a budget and I'm just getting started, for example, I 100% this one. If I care about the strap, I will get like the Hog. Oh, another thing is I did ask the manufacturer whether you can attach a vibration, convert it into a vibration. I'm not entirely sure how that's done, but he told me that it is possible. I basically just got the Hog vibe right off the bat. But you can also get, or you were able to get a kit to make it a vibration compatible, but I don't see that in the website anymore. Reach out to them. Actually, I'm not sure if you want to have like a vibration mount. I don't see it in their website. He told me that it was possible, but just kind of caveat, it doesn't seem to be possible. I don't see the vibration setup to be able to upgrade this to have a vibration. Yeah, if you want vibration and that's something that's important to you, then get the Hog vibe. That's kind of like the only difference. Yeah, so here's the Hog vibe if you want to sort of see. All of this is like this piece here at the top that's kind of like in this shape. Then you have this bracket here. So it seems like it is possible, but I just don't see it in the website. So just kind of FYI, I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a little bit ambiguous right now. If vibration is super important and that's something that you want to have an option to do. Yeah, and then notice here how this is already kind of rusting a little bit. Yeah, just the little things that you kind of got to put up with when you're getting like the more budget, but you can always keep, take care of it by putting like a lot of WD-40 or something that prevents, the rusting. So, but this is sitting, because I use this once in a while, so it's just been sitting there collecting a little bit of rust. Yeah, whereas something like this, I haven't seen any sort of rust. Yeah, notice how like even like there's like little paint chips here. I don't know if that came out, I don't remember if that came out like this or if it's from the from the twisting. Just little things like that. You get a little bit more if you pay a little bit more, right? You don't get that. This, I think, is coated with something that makes it not rust. But you can always just get some WD-40 and put it and clean this out with a little bit of sandpaper. If it doesn't do anything, it doesn't stop it from from turning and stuff like that. So, but yeah, just the kind of the little things you gotta do, which is why you're paying a little bit more for something more premium. But it's still solid. Like, if you don't mind and you want to save some money, this is still the HPE is still super solid. So, all right, so that was pretty exhaustive. Hopefully I touched on anything. If I forgot something, leave a comment below, clarify, and ask me questions. So With that being said, let's move on to our final thoughts. And there you go, another amazing product review. It's a solid extender. Definitely the best budget extender. Has some small improvements over the previous version. The previous version is still solid, and I am told that it's still modular, which is great. Super solid product. Highly recommended. This is the one, like, when people ask me what should be the what extender I should get in their first extender and they're on a budget, I definitely recommend the HPE extender. Is very solid, so I really like it a lot. Yeah, so hopefully you like this video. Super straightforward. If you like this video, you want me to do more product reviews, more PE content, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit those notifications, because I go live all the time and you don't want to miss those. They're super entertaining, and I actually do a lot of Q&A there, so if you have questions, you can catch me there, and I'll do my best to answer them. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, check out these other videos which may be relevant to you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.